greatest. When was the first time you became aware of the greatest?
When I was a young kid, I remember seeing him on TV fighting Cleveland Williams, and I think that's when he first done the Ali Shuffle and all those moves, and it mesmerised me. I thought, as a youngster, it really impressed me, and a few of my cousins were fighters, and so I was interested in it, but seeing that really turned me on to it, and that was it. I got bitten by the bug.
And you wouldn't mind an Ali now to promote? I mean, he's an absolute promoter's dream.
He was more than that. I mean, he was fantastic. And it's funny, I was looking at a lot of the clips on YouTube, which brought back memories from at the time seeing them. And he was just, he was hilarious. I mean, there was some unsavoury stuff. Some of the comments he made to Joe Frazier and a few of those things. But all in all, and I think in his head he was doing that for the promotion. But all in all, I mean, he was brilliant for the game. He was a promoter's dream. You didn't need anybody to promote a fight. Just he showed up, and that was it. And he changed the whole dynamic of boxing. All coincided with the television revolution, which he got his audience out there around the world. People actually see him on TV, recorded fights or live fights, and that changed everything in boxing. Changed the earning capacity of boxers. Closed circuit fights took place, so you could go to the cinema, watch him live in the early hours in the morning, and that was him. But he was a phenomenal person, in every way. He stood up for his race. He stood up for his rights. He was born in an era when blacks didn't have votes, and when you look at what he actually did to go on the line and say, right, I am not going to Vietnam. I'm not fighting any Vietnamese. He said, these guys never called me the N-word, and so I'm not going. And stood up and changed the whole dynamic. One of the people who's instrumental, changed the whole dynamic of and ending the support for the Vietnam War. And that's why everybody went from Middle America, from sort of disliking him to actually liking him.
And what is nice now, when you see in the modern age of sort of promotion and self-promotion, Mayweather or whoever, and there's a kind of snarly edge to it as well. He did most of that. 95% of it was done with a big smile on his face.
Well, they say that. There was some nasty stuff there. I can remember when he fought Ernie Terrell, he actually spit at him in the fight. There was a nasty edge on it with Joe Frazier. There's no doubt about that. And there was a couple of things that he came, but at the end of the day, he's a fighter. He was a fighter, and he did what he felt to get the mental edge. Some of the things he said, on occasions weren't quite right, but we see that today. We see fighters today doing it. As you get older, you get wiser, and he got wiser as he got older. And but the most important thing what he did was to stand up for his rights, for his beliefs, and his belief. You've got to put him alongside Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela went to prison for, 20-odd years. Muhammad Ali got sentenced to 5 years in prison and had his living taken away from him for 3 years. Champion of the world, that was taken away. He was willing to stand up for his rights, and he would not back down.